All right, another Mr. Big one today. What a great band. Obviously one of my favourite bands. This time, Had Enough. Probably that second ballad from the first album. We did Anything For You a long time ago. Anyway, that's on the channel. So what I've been doing a little bit recently, this one is split into sort of a performance video and a lesson video. So the performance one has the tab on screen. Follow that. There is a link below if you want to download the tab and the guitar profiles. If you do pick them up, thank you very much. Does help the channel. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about tone, then we're going to jump straight into the guitar parts. We are in standard tuning key of E minor guitar tone. So that first album has a little bit of that micro pitch / chorusy sort of sound on it. I think he used an 88 MP1 preamp, which I've actually still got somewhere. Back in the day, this time I went on the Fractal and a Marshall and put a little bit of sort of that chorusy sound in there. So if I'm on the humbucker, you're really going to want a humbucker guitar in the bridge. It's got this sort of sound. Okay, now the intro though, the intro guitar tone to me, the studio version is... there's a way of playing it, sort of the attack, the timbre. It's almost like he's playing it with harmonics. It's a really particular sound. And I couldn't really tell exactly how he's doing it, again, to my ear. I've only found one live performance on YouTube of them doing this where they did half the song in Tokyo before they moved into another one. And he's playing it just regular fretted. So I did it that way. But to get the tone, I use bridge and middle position, where your middle is a single coil. Okay, so this is what we're going for. Okay, if you use bridge humbucker, slightly different sound, right? More of an attack. Just a little bit too harsh. A single coil softens it up a little bit, not as hot as a humbucker. So again, if you've got it, I would suggest using position 2. So the notes themselves, he's outlining essentially a G sus2 to an E sus2 all over a bottom E bass note. That's the sound he's going for. But he's only playing the middle note. So you've got on the D, G and B strings, 12, 12, 10, and then move it down to a sort of a 9, 9, 7 there. Bottom string, and then you're coming down, arpeggiating, letting everything ring out. Okay, that's what we're doing all the way until sort of a little bit of a crescendo where I switch to the humbucker. And then we're getting into the pre-chorus. Pre-chorus is a really nice technique he's got here where he's moving major triads next to each other. So I think chord 4 and chord 5. So you've got a C and a D, but he's staying on the C bass note. Fingering wise, it looks kind of complicated, but it actually fits onto your hands really, really nicely. So you're playing the top of a C chord here. It's just a C bar chord on the A string, and then moving up to the D. But the bass note doesn't change. As I said, you're staying on a C. So what you do is you hit the C on the 8th fret, bottom string, with your pinky, and then you can hit the C chord, switch your fingers, and then hit the D chord, all while doing that palm mute on the C on the bass note. Again, it really does fit under your hands quite nicely. Okay, so here's what we've got. Okay, so as I said, palm muting on the bottom C with your pinky. Moving between the C and the D chord, you need to switch your pinky to your second finger there. And then sometimes he's bringing on the D sus, with your third finger on the 8th fret. So it would be, because you've got the bass note. Okay, so I'll do that slowly. That one I moved to my thumb, hit the C, and then I hit a D triad first inversion. So we've been doing 9, 7, 8. and then arpeggiating a D, open D sus2, bringing on the third again. It's all in the tab there. Really interesting rhythm guitar parts, right though? It's now, if you can't do that part there, don't worry about it. Just do the top part. Okay, and you know, if you're playing along with it, you're really not going to hear the difference, but he is playing that bottom C. Okay, then we're into the chorus. Let's look at that. Okay, chorus is another one. Again, how many times have I said it? His rhythm guitar playing, the chords he's choosing are very, very interesting. Super hard to hear on the original. I had to get one of those sort of tools to sort of extract just the guitar part, and even then it's very, very hard to hear. But the chords are great. Okay, so I'm just going to do coming out of that pre-chorus into the chorus. So great chords there. Follow the tab, it is on screen there. But he's coming in with a bottom E string and then hitting this chord, which essentially is the G sus2 that we've been seeing before. Why am I not just playing this one? Because the high D, he's not playing. It stops at the A, which is on the B string there, and that's too hard to fret without hitting the high D. So I just moved it down here, same voicing, but you just don't have that high D on the 10th fret. So 5, 7, 8, 5. Then you've got to slide down before you come into E minor 7. And then this one is the trickiest to hear. You've gone back to that G sus2 there, but this time fret the D on the A string. Then drop your pinky from 8 to 7. And then a D5 down to a C sus2. E minor 7 to D sus2. Little bit of an arpeggiated part again. Check the tabs there, but really, really interesting chords. When you're learning it, memorize the fingerings from the tab, but then you really need to listen and try and pay attention and isolate the guitar with your ears while you listen to it to get that rhythm right. Okay, then when he's coming out of there, I switched back to position 2, and you've got the side 3 up to 7, and then a bottom E, back to that part. Then we go into the pre-chorus and the chorus, which is broadly the same, slightly different playing. Playing it slightly differently, and I like that. I like that it isn't just riff, Pro Tools, whatever, cut the first one and just copy it onto the second one. It's not sterile. They're playing it. He's played it live, and so it's slightly different each time, and that just for me brings the magic. Okay, so then we're into the solo. The solo for me, I just kicked on a distortion pedal to give it some boost and just a little bit more saturation. Okay, and the guitar solo, E minor pentatonic. Broadly, almost completely, but he does bring in the 2 or the 9, which is the F sharp. Now that works particularly well because you've really got that F sharp in your head because it's in D, and you've had that D chord kind of the whole way through. So he just starts off super subtle and holds on the B note, which is the 5 of E, which is what Billy's sort of playing underneath. And then he's going to sort of outline a D triad. Okay, sounds great. Paul Gilbert's a very good triad player. That's why some of his solos are just beautiful. Nice phrasing. Really great. Now this next one is going up to, again, sort of a D sus4 to a D. Okay, and I hear that stretch, I hear him hit that high. Okay. And then we're E minor pentatonic. Just going to do a little sliding lick. And then one of his beautiful runs. Really, really nice. Then we're into that bridge, which is awesome. This was one of the hardest things to hear. Some of it is clear and some of it is really unclear. So this is kind of what I came up with. I'm just on the same tone, humbucker pickup. So it's a little arpeggiated part, basically an A chord, A5 to a B on D. To what is sort of common, right? When you've got that C chord, you bring it up to a D. You can often play that sort of half C, half D chord. So 3, 4, 0. Really nice. And then the D with some harmonics in there. Anyway, check that tab out there. That's another beautiful little bridge part. There's going into to the chorus there, which is again broadly the same chorus you've seen before. At the very end, where we're about to hit the intro, they do 2 chords that we haven't heard before, and that really leads you into that outro, which is again really great songwriting and arranging. Beautiful chords. Brings in a B minor 7 to an A minor 7 and then a B on G down here. It's great. And then the very end when Billy's sort of doing his sort of impro bass sort of part, which is on the C, Paul Gilbert swells in with the volume. Same triads as we've seen before. Think the top of a C triad again without the bass note. Top of a C, top of a D, and then that G first inversion we've seen before. So you got 555, 777, 978. Okay, add some delay to your tone to sort of get the feedback happening there, and swell in. I got a volume pedal here, so it's kind of like. That's great. Had enough from Mr. Big Paul Gilbert on guitar. Amazing rhythm guitar playing and, of course, lead guitar playing. All right, good luck. See you next time.